compliment everyone, compliment of the season to you wherever you are across the globe. This is Sport Africa. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name remains Ashalulu Afemi. Been a while, but of course, we are here to talk about, of course, our last edition of Sport Africa for 2024. Thank you so much for being on this journey with us. It's really not been easy, you know. We migrated from Nigeria Fans Forum to Sport Africa, and of course, we are trying to get on our feet again, and of course, build great content for you. I hope you enjoy your Christmas and of course the holidays as well. James Agberebi is around. Of course, we'll be looking at issues on the show today. James, you're welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much, Remy, and compliment of the season. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday for you and your family.
Of course, I didn't get any invite from either James or our producer during the Christmas period. But anyways, it's all gone now. Okay, James, let's get started. Let's talk about, of course, what everyone is talking about on the continent of Africa, the CHAN qualifiers. On Saturday, Nigeria defeated the Black Stars of Ghana, getting their pound of flesh back. You know, in the past two editions, you know, the Black Galaxies have been the nemesis, so to say, of the Super Eagles home-based team, but they got the job done 3-1 at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium in New York. James, what is your impression about that game? And would you say it's been a terrible year for Ghanaian football? You know, Nigerians and banter on social media. Some people are saying that football is not for Ghana. I don't know if you saw stuff like that from Nigerians, because you know Ghana will want to go into the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, which is just a year away from this period, because the 2025 African edition will be taking place in December. So, but let's focus on CHAN, James. What is your impression about that game? Nigeria 3, Ghana while it ended, before we talk about other African countries that also see their qualification for CHAN over the weekend.
Yeah, Femi, first, congratulations to the home day. But honestly, Femi, I never expected that result. I was expecting a close contest, you know, especially when you look at it from this angle of that the first leg ended 0-0, so you expected the Black Galaxies to, you know, come up with a bit of resistance. But under 30 minutes, they were already conceded 3 goals. You know, the goals just kept pouring in, and they would have conceded more. In that first half alone, they would have conceded like 5-6. You know, so I mean, it just sums up everything that's been happening to Ghanaian football. Like nothing is just for them. I mean, look at the Black Stars. They failed to qualify for the AFCON next year, and now the CHAN team followed suit. You know, so it's the third one. I listened to Coach Ramani this morning where he was talking about the pairing. I mean, the way the draw teams now, like Nigeria, Ghana must meet on the qualifiers now. And Femi, I think I want to quite.
Sorry to cut in, James. You know, we've been talking about that very, very hostile, so to say. Yeah, in the WAFU. Yeah. You know, we've been talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so for me, Femi, I think I agree with him, because we can't have two teams. For me, in West Africa, I think Nigeria and Ghana they are the biggest. So you find we have the likes of Cote d'Ivoire, we have Senegal, but Femi, in terms of achievement, I think Nigeria and Ghana, they are heads and shoulders above the rest. You know, so I mean, having these two big teams always clashing, Femi, you're going to take away. Like the big teams will now eliminate themselves. I mean, what joy it brings to tournament when you have the likes of Nigeria, Ghana in it. And aside from the on pitch, I mean, you know, the banter and everything. Remember the last AFCON and the way, you know, it brings excitement. Why it's not just played on the pitch? There are so many things that bring excitement. At the last AFCON, you also what Nigerian Ghanaians did. People who are content creators who are having a field day, you know. But when you have these two teams, when they square off against each other, you know, they will definitely cancel each other out. And it's not just in the Super Eagles or the men's national team, even the women. I mean, I don't like this format for me. I don't like it, honestly. Fine, congratulations to Nigeria, we won, but I mean, you want the big teams to be at the tournament. I mean, it brings out the excitement and joy. When you know that all the big guns are there, but when they keep canceling each other out. So I agree with the coach. I don't like this format. I think Wafu, they should just look into it
Okay,
and maybe
okay,
come up with
James.
something different.
Okay, but what would you have CAF do since you brought up this matter, because it was not part of what we wanted to discuss today, but for the sake of our people that are watching all over the world, what would you expect CAF to do? Because for instance now, in the CHAN qualifier for 2025 CHAN, Cameroon is geographically located not in West Africa but in Central Africa.
Mhm.
But Central African Republic yesterday or over the weekend stunned Cameroon. So what would you say? World Cup qualifier is a round robin. We have Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay, all of them in the same airport. You play each other and all that. So for me, it's something that I've thought about. Apart from the fact that we've talked about it publicly on this platform, but I don't think there's anything CAF can do, because they will tell you it's not their fault that Nigeria and Ghana are, yeah, in almost in one sub-regional area, and of course they are even almost neighbors.
Femi, every federation, you want your big guns to represent you, so that, all these things still count at the end of the day, just like for example, South America going to the major tournament, you don't have the Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay, the big guns. I mean, you two, that something big is missing. I'm not saying Cavs must, because no, I think they should just have to look into it, because at the major tournament, you want to sell your major tournament. Femi, unless we want to lie to ourselves, I don't think outsiders want to watch a tournament that I don't want to mention some countries now, but you want to see the Nigeria, the Ghana, you want to see the big guns. They're fine, they
I
are
agree.
offset. So once in a while, you see teams that, but Femi, at the end of the day, you see the big guns that will still, pull the crowd and everything. So every country must earn their place. The way it is set up, it's like CAF is trying to just assist something from the way the whole format, qualification format is. Like they're just trying to help some teams to uplift themselves. You have to earn it. We've seen countries, just like we said, the African Republic, they defeated Cameroon. You have to work for it. If you want to be among the big boys, you have to. The likes of Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, Senegal, Egypt, they just didn't come as far as in African football overnight. From Femi, they've been at it for a very long time, for decades. They've earned it. So any country that want to play, you want to be among these elite teams, you have to work hard for it. We've seen in the past where teams qualify. Minus Togo qualified for the 2006 World Cup. Nobody saw that coming. Angola stopped Nigeria from qualifying for the World Cup. So we've seen all these things. So this, if they can do that, then it's about consistency. You have to show that you can do
Okay.
this and you can rub shoulders with people. So not that
Yeah.
you don't make it look like, okay, these small teams, they should be in this group. Then the big teams cancel themselves out. Who's going to watch the tournament loaded with minus? I'm not disrespectful to any team, but any. I think the CAF, they still have to look into this qualification format.
All right. Okay. So James, not only Ghana will not be at the CHAN next year CHAN, not only Cameroon, but also Cote d'Ivoire wouldn't be there because they lost to Burkina Faso in the qualifiers. So I think that is what we are talking about, in all of these things. Then we also have, of course, DR Congo, as expected, they eliminated Chad. Then we have Guinea, of course, eliminating Guinea-Bissau. Then, of course, we have Senegal defeating Liberia. So, of course, the
Yeah, yeah.
qualifiers for...
Let me quickly say this. If you just mentioned Burkina Faso now, for me, I think I want to compare Burkina Faso to Senegal of old. There was a time Senegal was like, they get to a major tournament, that at some point they're going to get crashed out. They never qualified for the World Cup, but they kept going. They kept going. They played at the 2022 AFCON final. They qualified for the World Cup. Now they are among the elites in African football. But they kept going, that's what Burkina Faso is doing now. So if this team went through all this and they got to where they are now, like a team like Burkina Faso, I believe they are going to get there someday. They're going to win the AFCON someday if they continue, with what they are doing. So other teams too, but this idea of putting big teams to cancel themselves are why the minus will just be in one part of the qualifiers, and they qualify. And like I said, for me, I think a lot still need to be done about this qualification format.
Okay, James, let's come to, of course, disciplinary issues now on the continent. But before we go ahead, let's say a happy birthday to belated birthday now to Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen, of course, the former African Footballer of the Year. Of course, he celebrated his birthday in Lagos just a few days ago. We wish you all the best, and of course, all the best to you in the summer while you consider, your future at the end of the season. Okay, James, let's talk about the disciplinary issues. Over the weekend, of course, CAF, they wrap up their disciplinary measures against clubs and, of course, nations over the weekend, about, conduct of fans and all that. And we realized that the North Africans, not only even countries, even clubs, featured prominently in the list of CAF. James, and again, your people, Libya, of course, they came up again following how they treated Benin Republic in their final 2025 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. James, I don't know what to say, James, because if you read through that list, of course, it's more like it is just like you have Belouizdad here, and of course you have AS Asfar. I'm reading through on the tab now about the CAF's disciplinary issue. Then you have Libya. Then, of course, about how they treated Benin Republic in that final. Remember, we have CX Faction and all that. So the list, you have USM Alger. You have just a few, just one or two, three, countries in the Central and, of course, in the West African who were also sanctioned. James, what do you think CAF need to do? People have suggested deduction of points, that maybe that's going to serve as a severe punitive measure to some of these countries about how they treat opponents. Of course, you've not forgotten how they treated the Super Eagles. I think that was October this year in the CAF qualifiers, that they left them stranded at the airport. What do you think CAF needs to do? Because it seems this doesn't work. The North Africans, they keep doing this and they keep getting away with it every now and then. They've talked about laser, but you see fans bringing laser to the stadium and they're pointing it to the faces of opponents during football matches. What do you think CAF need to do, as in, so that they will send a message that they're serious? Now, in the Nigerian Premier Football League, I use that as an example, violence used to be the order of the day, but now, since the organizers have talked about point deduction, and after aside point deduction, heavy fine comes along with it. Then sometimes you get stadium ban depending on the level of infraction, or you are even asked to go to maybe the next two states to your state to go and play your football. Do you think CAF need to follow such a measure so that they can send a serious message to some of these countries and some of these teams in Africa?
Yeah, Femi, aside the fines and stadium bans, playing behind closed doors, I think that point deduction suits me very, very well. I think that should just be the icing on the cake for me, because when you know that your team will be deducted points, after the audio games, and you now have to remove some points from you. Where they have to now land such teams. That was what happened between Nigeria and Libya, where the Super Eagles were awarded 3.3 goals. Without even kicking a ball. So for me, I think that point deduction will send a strong message. But we've been hearing about stadium bans, fines, all this. This thing keeps happening, So I think strong measures they must be taken, and CAF just have to put their foot down. And it's so frequent with these North Africans, and especially their fans, lasers, and how they go about trying to bully teams. This thing has been going on for years, So I think that's the point deduction for me. I think that's the way it no-brainer. So how far is CAF ready to take the bull by the horn and say, okay, this is what we're going to be doing now?
Yeah,
in
yeah.
sports. Add it to punishment. I think that would send a strong message that CAF is really ready to stamp out all these antics.
Okay, James, sorry,
Not
can I
not
come in here?
Yeah,
Sorry,
I can
sorry,
hear
sorry
you.
to cut in. Now, I'm sure CAF must have thought about the issue of a point deduction. But would you say that because of politics is the reason why they've
Exactly.
not been able to take on that particular measure because of the some people have
Mm.
argued that the regional power when it comes to CAF lies with the North Africans. Do you think that is the case here?
Yeah, I will agree with you, Femi. I agree with you, especially when this issue of maybe when the fines and the rest involve some of these big countries. When it comes to all these antics, I mean, when you look at the North Africans, you're looking at Egypt, you're looking at Algeria, looking at Morocco, Tunisia, they are guilty of all these antics. They do it a lot. But I mean, where where the headquarters is in Cairo, and just like what you said, politics. You cannot rule that out in football because I mean they
They
know
can
that
relocate to Cameroon. They can relocate to Cameroon or Senegal
it's not
or
it's,
somewhere
it's
else.
not it's not as easy as you think. Just like you said it yourself, it's politics. To what do I call it? To just and a lot of people want to. Hello, Femi. Okay, a lot of
Yeah, I can
people
hear
want to
you.
like. Libya is not among the heavyweights. That's why it was easy to. But I think they just have to send a strong signal that whoever, no matter who's up to God, I mean, they can clamp down on any country. So I think that point deduction for me sits well. It will send a strong signal that CAF is ready
Okay,
to turn things around. So
okay.
for Libya, I think they I don't know CAF that their own kids will be a special one now for CAF because I mean, repeat how do they even call them? They did one before they were not able to they were found guilty. They did another one. I mean, their own case should be a special one for CAF to handle.
Yeah, okay, of course. This one now they are going to play two games behind closed doors, and they are going to be fined 50. They'll be fined. Not they are going to. They've been fined $50,000. I remember the case with the Super Eagles is there. They've approached cars, but of which everyone knew that they are going to lose because of how the whole thing panned out. James, of course, everything the reactions have cooled over Ademola Lookman. Imagine as the African Footballer of the Year, because even up till last week, we're still hearing reactions from Morocco. It was journalists talking about there was one particularly about Ashraf Hakimi's mom, who said that the way Hakimi sounded, it was like he was that was already told that he was going to emerge a winner. But James, let's talk about CAF now as we wrap up. The 2025 Africa Cup of Nations will take place by this time next year. Of course, CAF AFCON will be on. What feeling is it going to give you? Me, it gives me a feeling of 2022 when we had the first ever World Cup in recent times being played during the end of the year, during the early Christian holidays and all that. What feeling is it going to give you, James? We've tried it in February, we've tried it in June, now we are trying it in December, and this is going to be another issue with African players playing in Europe at this time, particularly in the Premier League. Most of the leagues in Europe are on break now, but Premier League. So all of that, help us paint a picture, James, in just 3 minutes as we wrap up.
I mean, it's not going to give me any feeling. We are so used to it. We've experienced AFCON in January, in the middle of the year, now it's going to
But it's the first
late.
time. It's the first time in December.
I mean, whenever time they fix it, we are so used to this schedule being shifted here and there. Anytime they want to hold it, we are there. I mean, we still hear the usual European complaints, European clubs and their complaints. Yeah, and at the end of the day, the competition will go on, Femi. So we are so used to it. So there's nothing, no special feeling. Um, you understand what I'm trying to say. The
Of
clubs will
course.
come out and complain. The players will be released. Some of them will get to camp, maybe some few days to the camp. The normal, this thing, will get the competition will go on. Like the last edition in Cote d'Ivoire, there were so many hot problems. But at the end of the day, the competition lived up to its billing. I mean, for me, that
Beyond
was one of
even
the best,
beyond.
yes,
Yeah.
that was one of the best AFCON I ever watched because of the news. They really stepped up for excitement all through. So for me, Femi, like I said, I'm not expecting anything. It's still the usual feedback that you're going to get. The competition will go on. People will complain. The winner will emerge, and we'll all go on.
But I think that CAF can actually look inward and host this competition in the summer, yeah, June. Honestly, I think if the right methodology, the right technology is deployed, yeah, it's going to be a rainy season. But I think in the 21st century, there are a lot of solutions that out of the box kind of thinking. I think the competition can be hosted in June. Well, anyway, thank you so much, James Agberebi, for your analysis on the show today. Thank you. I hope to see you in the new year in our first edition, of course, next week, hopefully by the grace of God.
Yeah, thank you very much, Femi, and happy New Year in advance.
Of course. So to our fans across the world, see, we can't thank you enough for sticking around with us. Like I told you, it's been a very tough year for us. I wouldn't say we lost our account on Nigeria Super Fans Forum. We just had to leave that account and come here. And we've been trying to build in whichever way that we can. But hopefully by next year, we'll do much more. Yeah, we promise you that we'll do much more to bring you incisive content on this show, particularly as we begin the countdown to the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations, and of course to the summer. A lot of African players will be expected to move, particularly Nigeria, not because we're Nigerian, but of course we talk about Victor Osimhen and of course Ademola Lookman. These two guys, certainly they will be leaving the clubs that they are right now. So all of those will be bringing all of those to you. And like I said earlier, I hope you enjoyed your festive holidays. And all of us here on Sport Africa, including our producer, we are wishing you a very, very peaceful and prosperous 2025 ahead. Thank you so much for your trust. Thank you so much for sticking with us. I remain Ashalulu Afemi. We'll see you in the new year. Bye for now.